Ever wondered how those eye-catching animations are built in React apps? Today I will show you exactly how to create these fancy effects using Framer Motion, step by step. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the coolest way to elevate your React apps, Framer Motion. If you have ever admired those sleek scroll-driven animations on the website and wondered how do I build that, you are in the right place. But that's not all. In this video I will not only show you how to build stunning animations, but we will also dig into performance considerations, accessibility tips, and potential trade-offs. So grab your coffee, open your IDE, and let's get animated. First things first, we quickly set up our environment. For that we need to create new React project using Vite, and also we're gonna install Framer Motion library and Tailwind CSS for quick styling. And by the way, if you want to know more about styling or how to build things with the Tailwind CSS, you can check this video in my channel where I explain how to implement dashboard using Tailwind CSS. Or if you want to know more about alternatives to Tailwind CSS, I also have a video on my channel where I compare different methods and approaches to implement CSS in your project. Before we jump into coding, let's touch three core concepts: motion components, animation props, and hooks. Motion components, think of them as a regular HTML elements but animated. It can be div, it can be circle, it can be section, it can be li, and other HTML elements. Animations props like animate, while in view, layout, helps you control your animations like a pro. And also Framer Motion provides very powerful hooks, which helps you, for example, to tie animations to scroll behavior. Let's implement Framer Motion animations. For that we need to create new React project using Vite, and also we need to install Tailwind CSS for easy styling. So you can see here my package.json file. Here I have Framer Motion and Tailwind CSS. As well, you need to import Tailwind CSS to your Vite config. And besides that, you need to add it to your CSS file, so to index SCSS here. Cool, so today we are going to be working on implementing animations in several components. So for the demo purposes, I created header, hero, feature section, slide-in text, parallax section, staged cards, fade-in section, and footer. And moreover, here in the beginning, we will add that scroll animation. And it's not going to be just simple scroll animation, it's going to be a scroll progress animation. We will be moving step by step, but before we start implementing animations, I just want to explain you simply how do they work. Let me comment out that code and show you the example of animated div. So what does this props means? This is the initial state of the div, so we set opacity to 0, let's say. Then that's gonna be the final state of the div. Opacity will become 1. And we have transition, that means how this animation is supposed to behave. And here we set duration of 0.5. So this is basic example of animated div. So we're gonna use today the same props to animate elements, and also we're gonna use hooks from Framer Motion. These hooks we're gonna use to animate scroll progress. And by the way, this is how a website looks in current state. So here we have hero section, we have feature section, slide-in text section, parallax, staged cards, fade-in section, and footer. So currently this is just a static text here, so we're gonna add some content and we animate it. And the first thing we will start with is gonna be a progress bar animation. For that we need to import a few hooks and motion from Framer Motion library. You can see it here. And then we need to use scroll. This is for scroll animation, and from this scroll we need to get scroll Y progress property. And that property is needed to smooth progress, and for that we use Spring hook, and actually this hooks is needed to make that smooth animation. And here we pass our scroll Y progress, and also we add few parameters. sniffness and damping, just to make it smooth and nice. And here we use motion div element with some stylings, but the most important thing is here. So here we use CSS transform property scale X, and we assign to that scale X smooth progress. Why do we use transform property? I will explain a bit later. So let's check this out in the browser. Let's scroll a bit, and you see at the top we have that scroll progress, and it goes very smooth till the end. Nice, so let's continue with the rest of components. And the next one to go is going to be header. So here we're going to use also use effect and use state. So we just add some simple logic as well. So as you see here, we define the state is scrolled, and then we're going to use effect. So for what purpose we need use effect? So we need to add scroll handler. And in case if the scroll Y is going to be bigger than 50 pixels, we set is scrolled to true. And then based on that property, that value, we're gonna change the styling of the header. So we're gonna toggle between background gray to background transparent. And as you see here, we have that property is the one I explained in the beginning of the video. So here we use initial, animate, and transition as well. And for the title of the header, we're going to use while hover prop, and we will set it to scale 1.05. So once user hover on that title, we're going to pop it up a bit. And then we have also list of the items in the navbar, and here we use the same initial, animate, and transition. So we set some opacity, and we also transform it a bit on the Y scale. And we're gonna, on transition, we're gonna use some delay, and while hover, we're gonna use scale just to pop it up a bit, and we will change a bit color. Let's save it and go to the browser. So now as you see, if I hover on the title, it scales a bit, and the same happens to menu items, and also they change color. Cool, let's proceed now to the hero section. In hero section, we have bigger variety of elements. So here we're gonna use H1, we're gonna use P, again div, and a button. So and here our animation works pretty much the same. So we use initial, animate, and transition props. So we play around with opacity, and also we add some duration, and the animation type we set is out. And also here in the rest of the components, we also have initial, animate, and transition, so pretty much the same. And on the button get started and learn more, we're gonna use while hover and another new prop, which is while tap. So once user click on that button, we're gonna scale it to that size. Let's check that out in the browser. To be able to see that animation, we need to reload the page. And as you see, first smoothly appear that create stunning animations title, then we have build impressive user experience subtitle, and in the end we have buttons. And once we hover, they change a bit the color, they scale a bit, they change border in this case, and if we click, it has that fancy animation. Let's continue. So the next one is feature section. In feature section, we're going to render some cards. There are going to be 3 of them. Here is the content for these cards, which we pass here. And for that, we also need to create another component, which is going to be single feature card. So here we iterate through features and add this card. So specifically in this component, we don't have any animations, but we will have them here in feature card. In the beginning, we need to create reference to that motion div, because we're gonna use this reference in use in view hook. With that hook, we track whether component is in view, whether it is visible. And we set here amount 0.3, so it means that at least 30% of this component should be visible to get this value as true. And then we use that value is in view in that animate section, so we tweak the opacity here, depends on that value. And also we use the standard ones, initial and transition. Let's take a look at that. So let's slowly scroll down. So we have here key features. We don't see any cards yet. And here they appear with a very smooth animation. Cool. Let's proceed further. And now we have slide in text, the very interesting one. So here we also create a reference to that parent div. And then we use scroll from framer motion, and we pass that reference here to target, and also we set offset from start end to end start. Here we define two variables. In that part we use transform hook from framer motion. We pass that scroll y progress. So what we gonna achieve here? So once users scroll through the website, the top text is gonna go from left to right, and the bottom text will go vice versa. For that, we specify that output range from -100 to 100, and here from 100 to -100. And in the elements itself, we're gonna use that transform CSS property, and we pass x to x1 and x2 accordingly. Let's take a look at that. So let's scroll down. Here we have our cards, and here the text comes. Once we scroll, the top text moves from left to right, and the bottom text from right to left. Parallax section will be a bit similar to a slide-in text, but here we will have parallax effect instead of the scrolling text. So here we also use transform hook, but here we assign it to the Y scale. And as you see here, we use a Y scale for that. Also, we will play around with the opacity for the div and H2 text. So the setup here looks pretty much similar to slide-in text. So here we also use scroll progress, we use target and reference, and we set offset from start end to start. So once we proceed with the scrolling, we're gonna update these values, which we're gonna use for opacity and for transform of these two divs. And now let's scroll and take a look at that parallax section. So you see here are two elements, they're slightly moving on the scroll. Perfect. So now it's time for staggered cards. As you noticed in that component, we're gonna use variants, the one I mentioned in the beginning of the video. And these variants we're gonna assign to here and then pass to the parent component and to the child component. That variants we use to define multiple named animations, and in the parent component we're gonna use hidden and show. And also you can see we have here stager children, so that means that we will animate child components one by one with that delay. And for the child component we're gonna use hidden and show. This is the initial state and the final state of that component during the animation. Also here we use in view hook, but with a different amount. Here we have only 20% assigned, and we use that in the parent component in animate prop. The variants we pass here, and accordingly variants we pass here as well. And also we have some hover animation for the divs, which is going to be our cards components. So let's take a look at the browser. Let's scroll down to that card. And as you see, they appeared one by one as we set in variants. And now if we hover, they transform a bit to the right. Great. So now it's turn of fade in section. In fade-in section, we already have familiar to us logic. Here we define reference for our parent component. Also, we have that use in view hook with 20% amount. And here we use few elements, H2 and paragraph as well. And in that elements, we use the props we already used in other elements. It is initial, animate, and transition. So here again, we play around with opacity, with some duration and delay as well. And we have also transform by 20 pixels. And let's take a look as well at the footer. So in footer, we use only one element, which is paragraph, and it uses this props, initial, while, in view, and transition. And again, we play around with opacity and some duration. So let's take a look at the final result in the browser. Let's reload the page. So here we have our first hero animations. Then we have key features, text, parallax, our cards. And now we have that text smoothly appear, the same as for the footer. If you didn't catch that, let's take a look again. So let's scroll down to the footer. and here is the text appeared. Cool. That's it. So we implemented a fully animated website with very fancy animations. So now I want to talk about the downsides of such animations and how they can impact your website performance. So, and the first thing, let's do some recap about how browser actually handles animations. For that, let's go back to IDE. I created here some explain HTML file, and here I just want to explain step by step what's happening in the browser. So the first step, what is happening, it is style calculation. So the browser determines which CSS rules apply to elements. Then the second step is layout. So the browser calculates the position and size of each element. After that, browser paints elements. So the browser fills in pixels for each element. And the last one is composite, so the browser draws layers in the correct order. So, and different CSS properties trigger different rendering pipelines. So first we have least expensive, it's properties that only affect compositing, opacity and transform. And actually that's why we use that transform property of CSS, the one I mentioned in the beginning, and we actually use a lot in our components, the same as opacity. So this is the least expensive. Now let's go to the more expensive. It's properties that trigger paint, so background color and box shadow, for example. And the most expensive, it's properties that trigger layout, width, height, top and left. So it actually will trigger all the pipelines. So you need to always consider these facts, even if you don't use animation library and you just implement your own animation styling. But as you remember, Framer Motion mostly use opacity and transform, which helps to optimize that performance of animations. So now let's talk about potential performance downsides. And the first thing you need to consider is bundle size. So Framer Motion adds around 18 kilobyte gzip to your bundle. Still, it's not a lot, but if you work on the big scaled application, that could be unnecessary. The second one is too many animations. Excessive animations can still impact performance, especially on lower-end devices. The third one is layout animations. So animations that cause layout recalculation can be expensive, as I mentioned already before. And the last one, memory usage. So complex animations with many elements can increase memory usage. And now let's talk about performance optimization tips. So the first one, use will change sparingly. Framer Motion applies this automatically when needed. The second one, lazy load of screen components. This is the common practice for developing React applications. The third one, reduce complexity for mobile. Consider simpler animations for mobile devices. And actually this one relates to point number 2 here for potential performance downsides. And the last one, use layout ID prop for shared element transitions. This is more efficient than animating exit and entrance separately. And finally, let's talk about accessibility consideration. And the first point is going to be respect user preferences. Honor the prefers reduced motion media query. The second one, keep animations subtle. Avoid flashy or distracting animations. And the third one, provide alternatives. Ensure content is accessible even without animations. Just to wrap up, as you see, it's pretty simple to implement animations with the Framer Motion library. You just need to remember a few props like initial, animate, transition, and several hooks. And that's enough to have that fancy animations on your website. But don't forget to consider performance and accessibility. Alright, that's a wrap up for today. If you had fun or learned something new, please hit that like button, subscribe or hit that bell button to don't miss next Dev Insights. Got questions, ideas or want to say hi? Just drop a comment below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.